Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, greetings from Somerville. This is your host, Michael Somerville. Very special episode today on location.
It's not going to be that special.
So special with my brother on his birthday.
It is my birthday.
It is his birthday. I am visiting him. All our regular listeners will forgive me. I don't have my crazy welcome song and all our nice editing that I do, and takes me hours and hours and hours to figure out how to do.
This is one take. One
take, Charlie. Happy birthday. My brother Steve is our guest today. Happy birthday.
Thank you very much. It's been a terrific birthday, and this is the highlight.
This is...
I get to be on Welcome to Somerville.
Greetings from Somerville.
Well, whatever.
You clearly did not do your
I'm a huge fan.
I don't think you've done your homework for the show.
I love this podcast. Or is it a blog?
Just read the notes I wrote down.
Yeah, all right.
Podcast.
Hi, Michael. It's a pleasure to be here on... Greetings from Somerville. It's your handwriting. It's not that good.
It's the next line. My favorite podcast.
My favorite podcast of all time. You're going to use that. You're going to cut that out, right? Use that in your advertising.
We're going to need some acting classes if we're going to sell that.
It is honestly my most listened to podcast.
That's yes.
It's the podcast I listen to more than any other.
Podcast.
Absolutely.
This is the one you listen to, and that is to say that I just helped you find it on your phone.
And I heard like 30 seconds of it, and that's the first time I heard any podcast. So.
And now you're a star.
And now I'm on one.
That was quick.
Show business is easy.
But you just shooting right to the top. Pretty much. Soon you'll have your own. By midnight tonight, you'll have your own.
I'm planning one already.
Now, it is your birthday. You and I are both, we won't talk age, but we are both past the age where birthdays are exciting.
Yes. We're comfortably. I'm at an age where if I divide it in half, I'm happy.
There's something to celebrate.
Yeah. Divide it in half, it's maybe not 100% believable, but it makes me feel good.
Okay. And that said, what did you do today to celebrate your birthday?
Today was very exciting. I treat every birthday is a special day to me. I got up and I went to work.
All right.
And I worked all day.
All day?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything at work for you? Do they bring a cake? Do they know it's your birthday at work?
Select people know it's my birthday.
Okay.
And then word gets around. It's a funny thing when you work in an office that, a few people actually remember your birthday.
Yeah.
And then everyone else hears them saying happy birthday. And so by the end of the day, pretty much everyone said happy birthday because the word has spread that it's your birthday. So people,
but
definitely didn't know in the morning that it was my birthday.
And by the end
of the day, came and wished me a happy birthday.
It's kind of like real life Facebook. Like now,
I'm not being critical because I do the exact same thing. I hear it's someone's birthday, I go wish them a happy birthday.
Well, most of the people in my life, I don't know their birthdays, but thanks to Facebook now, it tells you that day everyone's Facebook. Happy it's this person's birthday.
And I just started putting it in my phone, so if somebody's birthday comes up, I get a reminder at 9:00 in the morning.
There you go.
That's their birthday, and then I can text them. I don't do it at 9 because I think for some reason like everyone will know.
Everyone will know
that it was from the phone. So I wait till like 10:15, and then hopefully I don't forget. And then I'll text them happy birthday.
Now that I do a similar thing, I get the notice on Facebook, but I feel like it's almost generic or hacky at this point to say on Facebook happy birthday. Everyone's doing 100 people, but I send them a text personally. It's a little extra. And I sent one coincidentally enough today to my friend in Canada, who also happens only because Facebook I know has a birthday, and I just get back new phone. Who's this? And so, all right. Well, I guess she wasn't that impressed.
Well, not enough to put you in the new phone.
No, I guess not.
But, they just transfer that stuff. Like, she actually had to delete
you. She made an effort to not have...
she got rid of you when she got to the new phone. It's like a fresh start.
So now there was no cake, there was nothing in the conference room. It wasn't like the office.
No. In fact, I'll bring a cake tomorrow because I got one today. After I left work, I have a lovely friend named Ellen and her daughter Rachel, and every Tuesday they go to a pizza place, and they invited me to stop by. It's right on my way home from work.
Okay.
And I couldn't do anything more substantial or further away because I'm also on call. So not only did I work all day, but I'm basically on call.
You have to be available all night long.
All night.
In case something goes wrong with the computer.
Overnight, anything goes wrong. I'm the guy. So it's a hectic birthday.
This is not a 21st birthday party.
No, I work for a company. This is this is a nice perk where our birthday is considered a floating holiday. So I can take a different day off. You can take your birthday off, but you can also use it at a different time.
Oh, that is nice.
So because my birthday's on a Tuesday, and when you get a floating free day, you like to make it a Friday or a Monday.
Absolutely, yeah.
I will take a different day off, and that will be my official birthday celebration.
That sounds okay. So this is not. So it's not over.
It hasn't really even started. It's probably going to be like sometime in April.
Okay. Well, there was pizza and me, and we're thrilled to have you here on the podcast.
Yes, there was some delicious pizza, and now I get to be on my first podcast
Ever.
I'm very excited.
Well, that's exciting. People say, for your birthday.
Should I give out my contact information in case there's more offers?
Let's wait till the end and see how that goes.
I think it's going to go well.
Much like George Bush Sr., right? Didn't he jump out of a plane on his 80th-something birthday? And I mean, that you are celebrating by doing...
Yes, this is a first.
This is a first.
It's a bucket list item to be on somebody's podcast.
And not just anyone gets to be on my podcast, by the way. You have to be physically near me, so I can actually...
And not at all famous.
Yeah.
So there's some pretty stringent qualifications that I managed to slide in.
Well, I know some people. We bent some rules for you. Now, the reason it's bonus that you're here on your birthday, or I'm here on your birthday. I wanted to have you on because you are, among other things, my oldest brother, my sibling.
That was my first job.
That was your
That was the very first job I ever had. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but I feel I'm highly responsible for not just your podcast, but for you.
For me.
Absolutely. If you've never heard this story.
No.
When I was much younger, there was just two of us, me and the Bean.
I'm the youngest of three boys for our listeners.
Right, and there were just the two of us, and my friend down the street was the guy named Barry Ostra, and the Ostras had 4 kids, and I wanted to have 4 kids in our family, and I lobbied Mom to have 4 kids. And she told me that the problem with having 4 kids is that with just 2 of us, we could have lots of toys. But if we had 4 kids, we wouldn't have any toys. And so I said to her, well, what about 3 kids and some toys? And Paul wanted a dog. He actively lobbied against any more siblings. He wanted a dog,
which I do in my act, actually. My parents wanted a girl. My brothers wanted a dog.
Yeah, well, I wanted another. I don't know if I wanted a boy or a girl, but I wanted another sibling.
You wanted a third sibling.
I wanted a third sibling, so I lobbied, and it paid immediate dividends because I'll never forget the day you were born. I came downstairs, and I'm little. I'm like 5 or 6 years old. And Aunt Evelyn's making breakfast for us.
Okay.
And I said, where's my mom? I knew her, I recognized her, but I was freaked out because, things that every day, my entire life, at that point, I come downstairs and there's my mom, and this time there isn't. And they said that they were out having you. And when they came back, I got a baseball mitt. Because I guess Mom and Dad, which would be Mom, read somewhere that you bring a gift or whatever to, offset. But I
love it.
But I'd wanted you, so there was no reason to bring me a gift. So I just benefited.
It's a bonus.
So I actually didn't pay attention to you for the first year because I got a baseball mitt. It was awesome. I had something else to do now.
So I have you to thank for my existence.
So your very existence, I lobbied hard.
Oh my goodness! And in turn, our listeners have you to thank for this podcast.
Well, by extension, absolutely. Anybody who's enjoying this podcast, and not this particular episode or anything that my brother has done, it's really all me.
It's all you.
The man behind the curtain.
Now that is interesting. I've never been an oldest brother. I've only been the youngest my whole life. 2 older brothers. But do you have any recollection at all of being, especially that young? How you got a brand new baseball glove, and all of a sudden there's another one in the house, another brother.
No, I don't have a lot of memory. Being an older brother is not great in a lot of ways because there's just you get less attention now. There's a baby in the house or whatever. Right. One of the things I remember is I was competitive with you on certain things because there were certain things you could do as a baby that I could not do as well. And the one I remember most was you could drink from a bottle really, really fast. And I used to try to race you, and Dad would tell me all the time, you can't beat him.
A bottle, meaning like I had a baby
You
bottle.
You had a bottle, like a bottle of milk.
Right, but like with the nipple on the top
or
whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You would drink from a baby bottle, and I would try to keep up with you. I would get a different bottle, which I'm pretty sure I wasn't allowed to do.
Right.
But I would do it anyway. And
with a nipple?
With a nipple, yeah. Yeah, and I would try to suck the milk out as quickly as you were doing it.
and race me.
And race you. And Dad would tell me, Dad, I mean, it was just flat out, you're not going to be able to do it. I'd be like, I'm going to be able to do it. I could do it. And I would try my hardest. And I mean, it was work. It was a lot of work.
I bet.
And you would drink half the bottle in the time that, I had like 5 drops. And then I just said, you had these instincts, these bottle drinking instincts that I could not. I could not capitalize. And I couldn't learn it. It's just you're born with it or you're not.
5 years between us?
6, really, right?
Oh, is it 6 years?
Yeah,
okay.
6 years. So I was about 6 years old, probably 7 years old. Maybe you were still doing a bottle at 1.
Okay.
And you were drinking from the bottle, and I could not compete.
Could not keep up. That's
right.
Wow, I do not remember that.
So that was no, I wouldn't expect you to remember that. That was the first sibling rivalry thing we had.
Okay, and I beat you in our first competition.
Yeah, and after that, I just said, well, I'm bigger. I have to dominate in everything else. And so I used to make you play. I don't know if you guys remember. I used to make you guys play football. And I was the biggest, and so I could always win. And we'd play. And when I say football, it was, like we'd jump on the couch. I don't think there were any rules or any structure to the game. It was just tackle each other on the couch.
We used to play, I remember vividly, and you were. I mean, we were all athletic growing up, but you were simply bigger than us by virtue of being older.
By being the oldest, yeah.
And being a big athletic guy. And I do remember goal line stance, we used to call it.
Goal line stance.
And I remember
with pillows. We'd have pillows everywhere.
A million pillows, and someone would start down the hall and come running down and whip into the family room 100 miles an hour. You'd tell me to go run fast as I could.
As fast as you could. And then I'd just level you onto a bunch of pillows. I mean, to your credit and Beanie's credit too, nobody ever said anything. I mean, I don't know how hurt you guys got, but nobody ever went crying to Mom. We just kept playing.
We did.
And then, yeah.
No, I remember it well, and I remember loving it because we were playing sports, and but also being mildly terrified. Like
right,
when
well, that was the goal on my part. I mean, I wasn't really there to have fun. I was there to assert dominance, like a male lion. I mean, this is my pride.
Well, my favorite one is Mom and Dad's bed. Like Mom and Dad would go out, and you would.
We would orchestrate. And which essentially, I mean, just boiled down to jumping on the bed.
Yes.
Whatever the game involved, I mean, we had some sort of loose structure, I guess, or some sort of goal. But it basically came down to all of us jumping on the bed.
But it was similar, though. I remember being...
And we were older then. This is no longer...
No,
I'm not 6 anymore.
We weren't little.
Because they were leaving you alone with me.
You were the babysitter.
So I had to be like 12 years old.
Yeah.
I mean... I don't want to get into my teens and be like I was still jumping on the bed, but I probably was.
Well, no, but we were playing that football. I remember,
yeah, we were playing.
Start down the hall, come booking in. And
which, by the way, I don't know if you remember, but jumping on the bed was the one thing we were told we were not allowed to do.
Not supposed to do.
We were not supposed to do. And prior to that, I don't know if you remember this, we used to have these big dressers. Remember the big brown dressers you had?
Yes.
In your room, and you had them for years and years.
Yeah.
And what you don't remember probably is that there used to be a big piece of glass on top of the dresser.
Oh no.
Yeah, so it was much easier to clean, or I don't know why they would put glass on, but it was a big thick piece of glass on top of the dresser.
Right.
And it covered the whole part.
Right.
And we broke that one day because Paul and I used to sit in the drawers, and we didn't have any concept that we were getting bigger. So as we got older, we would sit in the drawers.
We would sit in the drawers of the dresser.
We'd take everything out of the drawers, and we'd open the bottom 2 drawers, and we'd get in.
For what reason?
I don't know why we did it. And we get in. And one day we had gotten too big, and we got in the drawers, and we did it, I mean, without Mom knowing, So,
right.
And whatever the reason was, I can't remember. But so we got in the drawers, and we had gotten too big, and the whole thing tipped over, and the glass comes sliding off the top and shatters on the floor, and you just freeze.
Right.
You're dead.
And mom's in the house?
Oh, in the house. Yeah. Well, we weren't old enough to be left alone. We were like 7. I was 7 or 8 years old. And he was a couple of years younger than me, and you just freeze. And then mom comes upstairs and sees what happened. And her first reaction is, "Thank God you guys are okay."
Right.
And everything. She just starts laughing. She's like, "What were you doing?" And nothing. She's like, "Were you sitting in the drawer?" I don't know how she figured it out. She figured it out right away. And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Why?" I'm like, "I don't know."
Well, the one I remember is on their bed. We would play same thing, goal line stance, basically amounted to jumping on the bed. But start down the hall, and then the two brothers were waiting for you with pillows, ready to kill you. And just you launch yourself like you're trying to dive over the goal line onto the bed. And we played this. Mom and Dad were out, so they were
definitely
out for the night. Yeah, we definitely didn't play that when they were in the house. And
no.
The one rule is don't jump on the bed.
We're not even allowed in their room.
Yeah.
Basically.
Exactly.
We could have the run of the whole house. The one place we weren't allowed was their room, and it's where we spent the whole time. They were gone.
The entire time. Well, they had this big bed. We all had our little twin beds, and they had a big old queen bed, whatever.
At the time, it seemed huge.
It seemed like it was the entire room. I mean, it was the biggest bed I've ever seen. And so, sure enough, we run down, jump, maul each other, pound. Next one runs down, jump. I don't know if you ever ran down. None of us would ever stop you.
I don't know.
I think you were always the defender.
I think I was probably,
Yes.
I wasn't in it to get hit.
So I remember coming down and jumping up, and all of us, you guys pile on, and we all move, and then all of a sudden you just hear thud, and the entire bed just
well, what had happened is one of the legs, and it was when you're facing the bed, it was the rear leg on the left-hand side had collapsed, because it was just like one of those metal frames. It wasn't a big wooden bed or anything, and we totally just bent that whole thing completely under with whatever we had done, and there was no way to hide it. So what I think we did is we got a bunch of books.
We took books.
We took a bunch of books and tried to make it level. And then I don't know if we draped like we did something probably really stupid,
hung the sheet or something.
Hung the sheet lower so that you couldn't see it. Like we thought we were going to get away with this indefinitely. I don't know.
So the bed was propped up by books underneath the one corner, and then we just left the room until our parents got home.
Yeah, like it never happened. And then I'm pretty sure we gave up. I don't know.
Dad tells the story. We come home. Years later now, he would tell this story. Like, I don't know how that night, but he said they come home. How's everything? Good. He did say that we were we were dressed and our teeth were brushed and we were ready for bed. Like we were all just.
We were guilty as hell. We may as well have had our tail tucked between our legs.
Good night, Mom and Dad. And they couldn't believe it. They're all ready for bed, wearing their pajamas, teeth are brushed. They were good night, and we go to bed, and they go to bed. Dad says they got changed, went to bed, get in bed, and apparently it's just leaning down. The entire mattress is just on an angle down towards that corner of the bed.
We didn't even it out. I guess we didn't use a level.
And he said they just lied there for 30 seconds in silence. Both knew, just didn't say a word to each other in the bed.
I don't remember what happened. There must have been fallout from that. But I remember the event. We couldn't have been in that much trouble because I don't remember getting punished or anything.
No.
Sure, we did. We must have gotten in trouble.
I'm sure we did. Yeah.
I don't remember what.
Well, we always had stories like that. I once cut my hair and it said Snuffleupagus did it when Mom said yes.
Yes, and you used to write your name on the walls.
On the wallpaper.
Yes. And the only way you got busted is that Mom would be like, I don't see the A, and you'd be like, it's over here. Because you wouldn't write your name in a row. You'd write it all over the place.
I would hide letters all over the wallpaper.
You'd write on the wallpaper. That's back in the days when people had wallpaper.
That's right.
We had, they were crazy. They really, they left you alone with me, and I'm not even sure. We did some stuff.
I don't know how old you were, but how'd that feel, being the babysitter? And
I don't think I took it that seriously. I really don't. I don't think I looked out for your well-being at all. Either one of you. I think I was in it for, to have some fun. I don't think I was that grown up at that point. I don't feel like I was that mature, particularly when I was with you guys.
Yeah.
I think that I got a very sort of childlike enthusiasm for whatever adventures we could get into. And then I tried to do grown-up stuff. Do you remember the time I tried to make macaroni and cheese for you guys? Mom used to make macaroni and cheese. But back in those days, you didn't have as many like pre-made, like the box stuff.
Right.
And Mom used to buy a cheddar cheese soup that was from Campbell's, and that would act as the cheddar cheese. And so she would make macaroni and cheese, and it was delicious. We all loved it. And so I decided to make macaroni and cheese, and I pour the macaroni and the cheddar cheese soup into a pot, and I start heating it and stirring it.
The dried macaroni, just from a box.
It never occurred to me. I guess I never got into the kitchen early enough to see that Mom boils the macaroni. Like you have to boil pasta before you can use it.
Before you can eat it.
So it's like 2 hours into this thing, and I'm stirring it, and it's still not soft, and I'm stirring it. And you and Paul are both, you're furious. You're like, this doesn't take Mom this long. When is it going to be ready? Everyone's starving. I'm like, I don't know. I'm working on it. So in those days, there were no cell phones or anything. Remember, they used to leave the number of the house they would be at.
Right.
So finally, after like 2 hours, I call Mom at the house, and I have to ask for Mrs. Somerville, and she gets on the phone, and I said, Mom, I'm trying to make macaroni and cheese, and it's just not getting any softer. Like, I put the macaroni in, I put the cheese sauce in, and I got it over the flame, and I'm stirring it, and it's like 2 hours, and she's like, did you boil it first? And I said, what? I don't know.
Did you boil the macaroni first?
I certainly did not. So, it was we were always doing stuff like that because I was old enough to watch, in theory, like legally, I was old enough to be the babysitter.
Yes.
But I was not.
And we were by no means bad kids. We weren't up to trouble. We were just boys and adventurous.
Right. No, we weren't doing anything bad.
Yeah.
We just weren't.
We weren't.
We weren't being careful.
No. Well, my favorite thing, and you taught us this, and then when we got older and you moved out, we continued, Paulie and I continued this one. Mom and Dad would leave us sometimes with dinner. Dinner was made or dinner was set, but we were old enough to, like, here's dinner or heated or whatever it was. And then the moment the door would close and they would leave, we would start scavenging into the couches for loose change, and then send the oldest one down to DeMeo's to get a pizza, to get a calzone. Beanie loved calzones. And also, it's the one thing I always remember. As soon as the door closed, we used to die. None of us had any money. We were kids, but you always went into the couches, into Mom's jacket.
Look at the couch. So going through the pockets of the jackets because Mom, there'd be $1 in there. You found $1. That was a jackpot. You're I got a bill. I got paper money.
Bill.
Yeah, actual paper money.
Sending Beanie down with bags of change.
Yeah, he didn't care.
Oh, he loved it. It was the greatest.
He'd show up and start counting pennies for
him. He was out on his own. It was dark out. He was downtown.
Yep, he was downtown.
One time, Mom and Dad called, wherever they were, at a dinner, at whatever they were at, and they called, and I answered. And I've never felt worse in my life. I'm just lying. How is everything fine? Beanie was down at DeMeo's. Everything's good. Everything's fine. Everything good? Can I talk to him? He's in the bathroom. Just utter life, sweating.
I think he's gardening.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where he is right now.
Now that's interesting because from my point of view, then, as the youngest, when I started going to school, you had already been there. And so there was I think pros to that, because people knew you were cool, you were athletic, you were smart, you all this stuff, and so people found out I was your brother, and that and many times for me was a good thing. Did you know that was happening?
I had no idea that I left awake.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just went through school. I had no idea.
Yeah.
And you forget that people are, the teachers in particular, and they're all the same people. And however many years later,
exactly,
they're gonna remember
exactly
the kid. I learned that when I was in second grade. I don't know if I ever told you the story.
No.
I was walking home from school with Scott Douglas, and we're walking along Park Avenue,
right,
which was which was a gigantic road when you were in second grade. Now it's a 2-lane road, but it had like double lines and sidewalks. And when you were in Berkeley
Seemed like
Heights,
a highway.
Yeah, it was the highway for us. I mean, it was all the way up Campbell Lane to get to. It had to be like a quarter mile away. It was a gigantic road. And so I'm walking home from school, and the walk wasn't long, was it? Maybe like a mile and a half or something.
But it felt like a long walk.
But yeah, just the fact that you were allowed to do it by yourself. And Scott Douglas and I were walking along, and we were hitchhiking. But not really. Like, we didn't expect to get picked up. It's just, we thought it was cool that every car that went by, we'd stick out our thumb. And it didn't matter. We were on the wrong side of the road. Right. So we were on the one side. The cars were all on the other side of the road. They probably never even saw us. Right. So I picked one car for whatever reason. Instead of sticking out my thumb, I give it the finger. And the car comes screeching to a halt, and I take off. I'm just gone. Well, as if that wasn't good enough, that car was being driven by Ms. Bevan, who was a 6th grade teacher with, sort of a witch reputation. She turned out to actually be a very nice person. But she was a 6th grade teacher, very serious looking, and she ended up being much cooler than that when I was in 6th grade. But it was, and Scott didn't run. He didn't know what I had done. So she stopped and asked who he was with, found out my name, and the next day came to my classroom to yell at me, basically, about what I had done. So, talk about all the bad luck. So fast forward. That was probably 3rd grade. Fast forward 3 years, I'm in Ms. Bevan's class, and the very first thing she says to me is, "Don't think I forgot who you are." And I thought, "Oh my God, this is going to be a long year,
school year."
But she ended up being really cool.
I remember,
she was really nice.
Ms. Bevan, a bumpy beginning, but a good end.
I stopped giving people the finger randomly. I learned. I don't think I've ever done that since.
Lesson learned.
Even people deserved it when you're driving or whatever. Just like, you never know.
Imprinted at a young age.
Yep. It's like, nobody's life is going to change if I don't do it.
Now, so we get older, and you start going out. You start going out socially and everything. And what did you? I know what I did. I know what I tried to sneak behind mom and dad's back. What I tried to get away with once I was a little older. What do you have any?
I wasn't really that bad. Yeah. There is one time I went out, I was probably 16 or 17 years old, and it was the Little Flower Fair. Remember Little Flower Fair? I used to have it every year.
Sure, a little carnival, like a little fair in town that the local church had.
This church had this fair every year, and it wasn't a great fair, but absolutely everybody went. And I went with Jimmy English, and he had older brothers.
Right.
So he was a little more advanced than me, and we got drunk. And I don't know if it was the first time I'd ever been drunk, but it was certainly the most drunk I'd ever been.
Yeah.
And we could walk there and back. It was like nobody was driving. It was fine. And but I get back home, and at the time we had a ping pong table. Remember the ping pong table downstairs?
Yes, I remember the ping pong.
And I get home, and Dad's still up.
Yeah.
And I think, oh my God, I just got to go right upstairs to my room,
right.
Say goodnight, and I'll get away with it. And it was probably very obvious that I was drunk because Dad stopped me. And we used to play, and I used to routinely crush Dad in ping pong. It'd be like 21-3. That was like a regular score for us. It was just never a close. And he'd always play. He was a good sport.
Right.
But and I was a teenager. You crush your dad, you crushed your dad.
You kill your dad.
So he routinely used to just destroy him in ping pong. And so I'm going up, and he's like, "Hey, how about a game of ping pong?" And I said, "What?" It's like midnight. I couldn't even believe he was up. And I was like, I'm tired. I don't feel like playing ping pong. And Dad, he had already decided we were playing.
You're playing ping pong.
He's like, how about a game of ping pong?
And you don't think he suspected anything?
I 100% think he knew I was drunk, and he was trying to teach me a lesson about coordination or something. We've never talked about it, but there's no way he couldn't have known. So finally, he's just, he's made it clear that we're going downstairs to play ping pong. And we go downstairs, and he annihilates me. And never says a word about the drinking. Never says anything. I just he's like, all right, good night. It's like I can't even. I don't know. I scored. Like it might have been 11-0 or whatever the shutout rules were. I mean, I had no idea. I couldn't play it all. I was drunk, and so yeah, and I think that was his way of teaching me a lesson about
learned.
Yeah, about coordination and what you can and can't do when you're drunk.
Well, I do not know how many loyal listeners we have, but I do know that Dad is one of them. So he now knows the story.
I don't know if he'll remember the story.
Is there anything you'd like to say to him? He's listening.
No, congratulations. The good win, yeah. I did not come ready to play, and when you're on that level, you gotta show up every game.
You gotta defend your title, and you were not ready.
I was not prepared.
Those were back in those days, in Agassi years, when everyone was up to something.
No, he was the USA winning curling.
Yeah,
it was the U.S. hockey team, whatever.
Yes, that was his night. 1980, that was his night.
He caught me.
Well, I cannot think of a more fun way to wrap this up. Thank you so much for taking the time, for saying and meeting our listeners. Well,
it was a pleasure. You're all wonderful.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Here's to
Thank
another.
You. I will. I'm happy to come back next year on my birthday.
Okay.
If, maybe we'll have more to talk about.
Well, a whole year ahead of you. Any crazy goals for the coming year?
For real? Like Yeah. No.
Okay, make it.
No crazy goal.
Okay. Okay.
I'm just gonna do my thing.
Do your thing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you do it well.
And thank you.
Yeah, and I appreciate you guys stopping by. Thank you guys all for listening to this show. Again, don't forget to follow us on iTunes. Please rate and review us. Give us a nice stars, 5 stars if you would. And it means a lot to us. And also you can listen to all 3 of my comedy albums on Spotify and Pandora. I'm Michael Somerville. We'll see you next time.